Correa sets up Immobile, back to Luis Alberto. What a finish! 3-1 Lazio. 2 goals in the opening 3 minutes of this second half.
The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adreano Nando, Gianni Della Colli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The intro song is Fireworks by Jazar. Any day that Juventus was champion of Italy was a good day. 3,283 days between May the 6th, 2012 to April. I lost track of my days. May 1st. Saturday was May 1st. May 1st, 2021. We do have a new champion after 9 years, after 9 seasons. A new champion has been crowned in the Serie A. Inter, congrats to Inter. Congrats to all the Inter fans. You guys celebrated quite a bit on the weekend. Unfortunately, none of us here at the Calcio Guys were able to celebrate a Scudetto this year with Adreano Nando. I'm Nicholas Di Giovanni. Adrian, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good, man. A little bit of technical difficulties before starting here. Seems like it's been a running thing with us being away from each other. But yeah, like you mentioned, Inter crowned champions after this past match day in Serie A, so a big congrats to them. Again, we are rival teams, but it can be better. I think from the home stretch of the season, they definitely deserved it. It took them a little while to get their motor running, but I think at the end they were the best team in Italy. And I think unless you're bitter, you can admit that. I think it's obviously as a fan of a rival team, it hurts. It stings, but again, I think like I said, they deserved it. I think we can all agree on that. We don't have Johnny on here tonight, but I think we can all come to an agreement that they were the best team. They did all the things right, especially in the home stretch of this season, and up until now, there's still 4 games remaining, and they got the job done. So I mean, that says something. So again, congrats to Inter, all our Interisti friends out there that follow and that support, and let's see what happens next season.
And there's a lot of factors, right, for Inter. A lot of factors that played into this Scudetto win. And like you said, definitely the best team in Italy. They do it with 4 games left. That's usually a sign of dominance, right? It's not like, you leave it to the last match day or something. 4 games left. So they're pretty much chilling for these last 4 games. They're pretty much chilling. They have nothing else to focus on. Pretty much pride on the line. They have 1 game against Juve and the second to last match day. You got that derby. All things can, depending on the situation by then with Juve in Champions League, Inter could play spoilers. But, I think for, a lot of the European players, it's going to be about not getting injured ahead of the Euros. But yeah, with Inter, what do you think, if you're going to take one player, who do you think was their, MVP, I guess, or their decider for the title?
Well, I think the obvious suspect is, and I think most people can agree on this and probably would say this, but it has to be Lukaku. I think, and again, I want to go against the grain too and say other names like Lautaro was huge. Barella, we've always complimented his game, and again, a young Italian player that's really produced. Again, the second half of the season revelation of Eriksen was big. Hakimi I've also liked, but besides all those other names, I think the one point, the referral point, or just the center of everything was Lukaku. We mentioned in episodes past, we had Pasquale on last week to talk about Inter, and Lukaku was a name that came up then, right? So he's been the dominant force, I think, with this squad. He came on a hefty fee, had a lot of doubters before he even got into the league, and he came from the Premier League into the Serie A, which again is two different leagues, two different play styles, and two different mentalities. And it took him maybe some time to get adjusted, but I think he adjusted well, and he proved a lot of people wrong at the end of it as well. You can't take this Scudetto away from him. He definitely deserves the praise. He's a fantastic player. Obviously had some slumps, had some maybe like negative things that came out of his character, but at the same time, I think he was the main focus with Inter, and I think scoring over 20 goals, and I think back-to-back Serie A seasons for a new player in the league. I mean, it speaks volumes, right? So I'm gonna have to go the obvious name of Lukaku, but like I also said, other names of Lautaro, of Barella, Hakimi. These are other names that I think that really stepped up for Conte this season, and that I think if it weren't for these types of players, we wouldn't be talking here. What is this, Wednesday night here in Montreal, May 5th, talking about the Inter crown champions. So credit to them, and big credit to Lukaku, who I still think can definitely win a couple Cannoniere to end off the season as well.
Well, 6.6 goals behind Ronaldo. It's gonna be tough for sure. But you know what? I'm gonna have to say, obviously Lukaku is the obvious choice, right? But if I'm gonna go with someone else, I'm gonna have to say Hakimi, because you look at the Inter team from last year. They finished 1 point behind Juve, so they weren't there yet. So they need to bring in reinforcements, and Hakimi was that reinforcement. He was that guy to take almost Inter to the next level. Okay, of course, Lukaku, he was the one who was scoring all those goals for them, but adding a player like Hakimi to the team made them even better and made them a championship contending team. So for Inter, wonderful season. One they're never going to forget. And sets Inter on the front foot with three racing forward. Hakimi is one of them. Can he bury it? He can! And the match will finish with triumph for Inter and heartbreak for Crotone.
It finishes Sassuolo 1, Atalanta 1. A result that affects the race for Europe. FC Internazionale are the champions of Italy for the 19th time in their history.
So Inter wins their first Scudetto since 2010, when a certain Jose Mourinho was the coach. And
shocking news.
And in a week where we're already talking about that 2010 Inter team enough, and we're talking about Mourinho, and it was the 11-year anniversary of that win in in Barcelona. Makes shocking headlines yesterday morning, Tuesday morning, announced as coach of AS Roma. Just, I don't know what your reaction was, Adreano, but I think of a lot of people's reaction was just, as Matteo Renzi says, shook. First reaction, shook. There's just so many thoughts. Like, does it make sense? I don't think it makes sense. It's such a weird hiring, and especially for him too. It's like, he's been in England these past few years. Chelsea, Man U, Tottenham. He goes Tottenham to Roma. That's pretty much a lateral move. Tottenham is the Roma of England. Roma is the Tottenham of the Serie A. It's pretty much a lateral move. They're not going to Champions League. They're obviously not going to win the Europa League. They have a new ownership. They don't have the best players. Like, I don't see what he's going to add. And Mourinho, you kind of saw him like with Man U and Tottenham towards these past few years. Again, I don't watch too much Premier League, but what I've heard from people who do is that he's an old school style coach who has failed to adapt to a new generation of players. He sometimes calls out younger players for being on their phone and stuff. You know what? That's the reality. That's the reality. Every generation of players has their reality. I'd rather the players be on their phones than like what players did in the 70s and 80s and, drank all the time, right? So, you're going to have to adapt to that. And so if he's calling out these phones, he's not going to like Zaniolo if that's the case. If he's calling out guys on their phones and stuff. So, he's going to have to adapt. He's going to have to readapt to Italy. It's been 11 years since he won here. It's just, very strange situation.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it's shocking. It is definitely the word that I think every fan or every casual fan of the league thought, or just football fan in general. I mean, if you're going to sit there and tell me that you thought Mourinho was going to join Roma, you're kidding yourselves. You're pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. That was never in anybody's thoughts. Roma definitely kept this hush hush and definitely acted on this move, very quietly and very without any traces of anything, right? We thought, you look at the news or you just look around, social media, the likes of Sarri is named and other coaches, Allegri in the past as well. But, yeah, I don't know. It was definitely shocking. I think it's just I'm almost at a loss of words to when I heard about this news. We woke up yesterday and we're like, Mourinho to Roma, like really? Like, are we really saying that? It was just so weird. And again, I don't know. You look on the news outlets or you just read online or on social media and like seeing that Mourinho puts out statements that he wouldn't mind coming back to Italy, and even if it wasn't with Inter. So maybe the possibility was there. And maybe that was the little sprinkle of news maybe that nobody really picked up on. I don't know, but at the same time, I think it's cool to see him back in Serie A. I think it's for the league. I think it's a good thing. It's a positive thing. It brings another big name to Serie A. Do I think he's gonna pull out what he pulled out 11 years ago with Inter with the tripletto at Roma? No, I gotta be a realist. I don't think that. Can he make some changes for this Roma team? Definitely. I do think it's I don't know. It's weird because Mourinho, I think many people say like his prime has, he's past his prime. He's past his due date. He's a bit expired, and again, maybe, but at the same time, I think he's a step above from what they currently have in Fonseca. I think that project, unfortunately, didn't really work out the way I think many fans or many people would have wanted to. But Mourinho brings a different light. He brings a different aspect. I guess the Friedkins saw something that maybe we don't see. I don't know. Maybe it's a PR move, maybe it's not. But I think at the end of the day, Mourinho can definitely bring something out of this Roma team. And I don't think they would go so much more back than they have already in these past seasons. And my only concern is, they are maybe in some financial dilemmas. And I don't think Mourinho is asking for small sums of money either. I heard around like 7.5 mil per year with Mourinho until 2024. So again, that's quite a bit for a team that's needs to get bounce books and needs to get back into what they once were. So it's an interesting move, shocking move. I don't know. I want to stay optimistic because I do think that he can bring something to this Roma team and maybe can be the first step in the right direction for this for the Friedkin era at Roma. But I guess only time will tell what Mourinho can actually do with this Roma side. But I gotta say, and sometimes Capello says stuff that I don't agree with. But Capello had came out with a quote that you as Roma, you bring in the coach, but you also need the players.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the big elephant in the room. You can bring the best coach in the world, but if you don't have the players, or quality players to play, you're gonna find yourself in trouble. So again, I agree with I like the move. It's definitely an interesting move, but they definitely need to shape up their squad as well.
And we took to social media. We asked our Roma followers what they
Pizza
thought.
Calcio, this is for you right now. This is for you. They came out right away. We need an emergency podcast about the Calcio guys. We definitely appreciate the love. So we're coming tonight and bringing you all this. But yeah, they were one of the first to really get going with this Mourinho news.
If you want to read it, Adrian, I got it written down here too. I don't know if you have it up on your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they reached out to us pretty fast. Like I mentioned, emergency podcast needed by the Calcio guys, like I mentioned, and they were all over this news as well. But so yeah, I really wanted to, since they were so passionate about it and really wanted a response from us. I asked them like what they wanted to what they thought of this move, and they wrote. So this is quoted by them, Pizza Calcio, great account, go follow. They write, excited but also petrified at the same time. There needs to be a cultural change at Trigoria, and this is the exact guy to do that. It will be a fun ride to watch Jose versus the Roman media. From a personnel standpoint, we have to think that Friedkin/Pinto will have some major signings coming in. Excited for guys like Mancini, Pellegrini, Ibanez, and Zaniolo. Nervous for Mayoral, Kumbula, VR, and Diawara. At the end of the day, we can't get much lower than we are right now. So I think this is a chance worth taking. From a Serie A standpoint, great to have the legend back in the league. Forza Roma, and congratulations to Empoli, who officially made it up back to Serie A, and they say ciao ragazzi. But I think they said it pretty well. I would have to agree with what they're saying, and like I just had mentioned, and they're echoing my point exactly in their statement. They can't get any worse, right? So I don't think Mourinho will really put them down and out even further than many fans seem to think that they are, or they actually are, right? So I do agree with that. I think it's going to be like the media stuff. We already know that's going to be a field day. Him with the Italian media again, with the Roman media, him against Conte, him against Conte again from back in the day in the Premier League. But again, with the certain players, I would have to agree, and you just mentioned it earlier too. But what did you make of their statement?
Well, I agree. I agree with it. It's excited but petrified. You want that guy. You want that guy to Mourinho. You want him in, but you don't know what he's going to bring. When they're talking about the players, excited for guys like Mancini, Pellegrini, Ibanez, and Zaniolo. Again, I don't know too much about Mourinho's tactics in the past few years, or I could, pinpoint guys who are going to benefit from his system and whatnot. But it's funny with Roma. Two of their last three coaches, Ranieri and Mourinho, won the Premier League in 2015 and 2016. So they got great coaches for 6 years ago.
Exactly.
But you know what? That news kind of took away pretty good match day in the Serie A. Match day 34. A lot of Champions League. That's a focus right now. Champions League races. At the bottom, it's Crotone's already confirmed. Parma's confirmed to go down. Man, we had a podcast in August of last year, July of last year, with Connor Clancy talking about if Parma could qualify for Europe, and now they're going down to the Serie B. Like, Jesus, they were terrible this season. They deserve to go down, and then now you got Benevento, Cagliari, Spezia, Torino pretty much left to battle it out to save themselves from that final relegation spot. But up top, it gets interesting. Atalanta 69, Juve 69, Milan 69, Napoli conceded late against Cagliari. So they're in fifth with 67. Lazio still with the game in hand at 64. Juve Milan this weekend, huge. I mean, huge.
Fucking big time.
I've said it before with these big games. I hope it doesn't finish in a tie, but you know what? Maybe it'll be beneficial to both teams to finish in a tie. But I think it's gonna be a big game. Like almost, you remember Lazio Inter from a few years ago? I know that was on the last match day winner. That was really winner takes all to go into Champions League. But it's almost to that level at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I've said it. With my fellow Milan Club Montreal members in our WhatsApp chat, or just any of the Milanisti out there, this is probably the biggest game in Milan's history, probably in the last 10 years. It's really been Like we have always mentioned, or we all know, it's been a bit of a banter era, dark time for Milan, and this season was a bit of a breath of fresh air. Obviously, not this home stretch that we would have liked, kind of shooting ourselves in the foot and not taking advantage of certain things. But this game against Juve on the weekend on Sunday is huge. It's huge. It's not even just a rivalry between me and you. This goes beyond that. This is Champions League implications on the line. This is pretty much everything. This is I don't want to say the whole season on the line, but it's definitely close to that. I just hope for a good game. Obviously, no BS. Full squad against full squad. That in previous matchups against Juve in this season, earlier on in the season, that was kind of, the thing that I would have wished that, was there. Milan was kind of not fully healthy, and, again, no excuse in that game there, but it would have been fun to see, full squad versus full squad and really battling it out and may the best team win kind of thing. But I'm pumped, excited, nervous, but at the end of the day, I think it'll be a good game. I think these teams, as of late, have went through some ups and downs. Obviously, Milan starting off hot, now kind of, again, like I said, shooting themselves in the foot. Juve losing, the Serie A reign after 9 years and kind of going through a whirlwind of different, things going on in Juve world over there. But it's been a roller coaster season for both squads. I think they both understand what's on the line in this matchup, and how important these last 3-4 games are for their seasons and for maybe their managers and for just everything in general. So I think it's a lot on the line, like I said, and it's going to be a close game. I don't know. I don't even know if the tie is going to be something that these teams want. I think they really obviously want those 3 points and to run with it, because they're just so important. And like Carlo Ancelotti had mentioned, I saw it on Instagram, may the best team win, but make it be Milan. So I'm riding with Carletto on that one, and I hope for obviously a win for Milan.
So before we have Nando on, you want to go with do our MVPs and cards?
Yeah. Let's. There was, like you mentioned, there was a lot to talk about this weekend in Serie A. Apart from the shocking Mourinho news, ultimate boomer bust move for Roma, as our boy Mas Richo said. So yeah, let's get into it. You want to start?
I'm gonna think the card. I'm gonna go off the top of my head. You know what?
Okay.
This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm gonna give a card to Roma. Okay. Because you know what I would have liked to see? At least wait a couple of weeks. At least make this announcement.
The timing, you're saying, huh?
Yeah, the timing. At least make this announcement like before the last match day, because you still got your second leg of Europa League semifinal. I know you're down 4. It's gonna be tough, right? Fine, whatever. Yeah. You still got 4 games left. It's bad timing. It's the week after Inter, wins the Scudetto. They can't even have their moment. Already the media is already just covering Roma. It was very weird timing. You never see it with 4 games left. Maybe you'll see it with a game left, and maybe Fonseca gets sacked and a caretaker comes in and does the final game or something. So tough situation on his part too, to do these final 4 games plus the Europa League. Tough situation on his part. He's going to be professional. Just looking at the standings, they really don't have. They can't really go up. They can go up because they're in 7th, but that's where you want to finish, because you have Sassuolo right behind you at 53. So you want to at least have that pride, finish 7th. You're not going to play in Europe next season, and that's that. So for me, that's going to be a card for Roma for the weird timing.
This is definitely going to be another yellow.
You, Adri?
Yeah, and just to quickly bounce off to you and just echo what you're saying, it's like bad timing, and like, how do you get motivated for these last 4 games? Like, how how is this team going to get motivated under a coach they already know is not going to be there next season? And again, with this Europa League second leg against United, how do you get motivated? Like, how does he motivate the team? Like, how does that happen? I don't know. I would have to agree with you on the timing aspect of it. But I guess, the Freakins wanted to address this right away as soon as possible. I personally would have waited for the end of the season as well. But yeah, it just, for me now, it's like, how is this team going to be motivated to finish off this season, seeing that things are definitely going to change in a couple of weeks, right? Or into the summer. So I have to definitely agree with you there. But for me, for cards, I had like multiple things that I just wanted to like mention in terms of cards before I get to my main one. So first off the bat, when you mentioned timing with the Roma thing, the whole incident with the Milan Ultras about the whole Gigio Donnarumma contract issue,
that was ridiculous.
Bullshit, right? Okay, so again, I'm gonna put that into my card flurry of ideas that I came up with today. Again, timing is ridiculous for that. Not your place. Yes, we love you as the Ultras. We definitely we love you as fans, and they're like one of us, right? And they represent the fans, but not for me personally. And I was listening to our boys on Milan Weekly podcast, and they mentioned this scenario as well, and have to agree. It's just not your time, not your place to be saying this, like especially and then like threatening, like sign the contract or don't play against Juve for Gigio. It's like, who are you to say that? Again, I personally think all this will get resolved at the end of the season, where I think these things should happen. Obviously, you read into the news, people are going to react, but again, not for the Milan Ultras, kind of a bad look for me. Going further, another thing I want to point out, the Udinese collapse against Juve. I'm sorry, but terrible on their part. The disallowed goal for Osimhen, I'm going to say it was a bit of a BS call. I don't know. For me, Godin flew. He went super Diego on that play, and he went flying on his own, but which was a bit unfortunate for Napoli in that sense, because they end up dropping points at the end. But again, they got to be better. But my main card, I'm going to give him a yellow because he already got the red in the actual game. But Golini, for me, definitely gets my yellow card this week. His decision making on him getting that red card against Sassuolo, coming out and really aggressively in a place where I really didn't think he had to against Sassuolo. I think it was Boga, if I'm not mistaken, that he ended up taking out. Again, if that's a player and not the goalie, I don't think it's that severe. But the fact that he was out there, put himself out there, really on an island. And really put himself and his team at risk. For me is a big no-no, and I didn't agree with that decision making there. It was kind of I guess a rookie mistake, if you want to label it that. But for this week, besides all the other things I mentioned that I think we can all agree, or at least I can agree, maybe Nick can as well. I don't know that I need to mention, but Golini's mistake on him getting the red card, and lucky that his team didn't drop all points. They ended up only tying that game, but putting the Atalanta in the hole early in the 22nd minute for Golini on that red card, for me, he merits a yellow card on our show tonight.
It's a late challenge, surely maybe the first yellow of the match.
It was a weird play for sure. I was watching that.
Terrible.
Weird play. And
I didn't see it live. I saw the replay and I was like, oh, okay. No, that's why they got the red card.
But I bet all Inter fans were cheering when they saw that, and then they were cheering even more when Consigli made that stop on the penalty. I thought, okay, these Scudetto celebrations are gonna they're gonna be pushed a week. When I saw that there was that penalty was awful too. That penalty on Boga, that was awful. That was terrible. Just terrible penalty.
It was on Traore. The one on Traore, you mean? The one that Toloi pushed him or whatever?
Yeah, okay. So it's Traore. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad penalty too. MVP, I'm going to go, you talk about Udinese, I'm like collapse. I'm going to have to go with Ronaldo with MVP, right? I mean, saved Juve's ass. Like, They didn't deserve the win. Awful game.
It wasn't for him. It wasn't to win.
My retina's literally burned. You could call my eye doctor. You could call my eye doctor and ask, what happened when Nicholas came to see the eye doctor on Sunday? He'll say, burned his retinas. You ask, how? Say, he'll tell you, I was watching the Juve game. That's how bad it was. I burned my retinas. I cannot see anything right now.
And just a disclaimer, I confirmed that. I did speak to his eye doctor, and that did happen. Unfortunately, Nick is going to have to go into surgery. Maybe an upgrade in prescription because he does wear glasses. So we'll definitely see. We'll keep you guys updated, see how everything goes. But so far tonight, he can see perfectly on the show. But that's a discussion for a different day.
I hear that I'm a perfect candidate now for being a referee in the Serie A.
There you go, along with Orsato.
But yeah, whatever. Ronaldo for me, the MVP.
Great strength there to hold off the challenge of Forestieri. And Ronaldo arrives to save Andrea Pirlo. He's still got it all right. Pirlo heading for the exit door, but then his superstar comes up with 2 goals in the driving, dramatic rain.
You?
Yeah, no, just again bouncing off what you're saying. If it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for Ronaldo, there's no win for Juve, right? And it's funny because last week we're like, is Ronaldo there? Is Ronaldo there? Is he hurt? Is he this? Is he that? And this week he came out to play. So again, it shows that he still has it, but at the same time, Juve has to wake up as a whole because you can't continue to rely on this one man to save you every week in, week out. It's passé now. You gotta move on. But again, kudos to him. You also had written down Palacio, which I also wanted to mention. He got his hat trick for Bologna, which there was a stat about it too. I think he was like the oldest player to do that or something. I didn't really catch the whole stat, but nevertheless, kudos to him against Fiorentina. Who again, Vlahovic, we mention him every week. It seems like this guy scores braces like it's like he's changing his underwear. I don't know, like this guy, he can't stop scoring. It's ridiculous. Now I think 19 goals on the year. Again, there's a whole stat about him with that record with Fiorentina. I think the youngest player to do it, or has been since the last time. I don't remember who it was, Gilardino or something like that. But for me, you mentioned Consiglia. I wanted to give him a shout because he's been pretty good these last couple weeks. Made the big save on Muriel on the penalty shot against Atalanta this week. His teammate Domenico Berardi, fantastic couple weeks as well. I wanted to mention him. He's been great. I think he's reached now 15 goals on the season. Again, he's been having a hell of a season. Merits a call up for the national team. We've mentioned time and time again on this show. He's just been, again, for the month of April. He has four goals. He scored in back-to-back games. But my main MVP is going to have to go to Tucu Correa. We're having Nando on in a couple minutes. Talk about Lazio and their UCL push and their season, but this month of April for Correa has been stellar. He has 5 goals to his name in this month, or in the month of April, sorry, and 4 goals in 2 games. He scored a brace in 2 back-to-back games. So something that I think for Correa, when he's on, he's definitely on. I think he just needs to stay consistent like this for Lazio or for the Argentina national team if he gets called up. But for me this week, MVP definitely goes to Correa as my standout MVP this week.
Correa, lads, it is wide, but Correa has a shot and Perin got a glove to it, couldn't keep it out. Correa gets his second for the day.
And that's perfect transition because we're gonna have Nando on. We're having Nando on just to talk a bit about Lazio.
Boy.
Welcome back to the Calcio guys. Adreano Donardo, Nicholas Di Giovanni. So we don't have Gianni this week, the guy who likes a Roman team and a team in blue, but instead we got the guy who likes a Roman team and a team in blue. We got Nando, the Lazio fan. How's it going, man?
Good, you? Been a while. Thank you for having me back.
Well, you're
Always a pleasure.
like
Always a pleasure.
third time, I think, maybe fourth.
Probably
I lost
four.
track.
I think on the local boy list, I think he's number one. So it's always a pleasure to have you on, Nando.
Yeah. So you're part of our group of Lazio fans. You know, Jerry. You know, Jerry. You know, when we have him on, he could go on and on for hours. I know you like to talk about Lazio too, but not Jerry level.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you wake up this weekend? Did you wake up to 6:30 a.m.?
I absolutely did, and
Espresso match.
it was well worth it up until they scored two. Well, it's always worth it to watch Lazio win, right? Even at 6:30 in the morning. Obviously, they gave us a scare like they always do. They can't really hold a lead for their life. It's not the first time this happens, and luckily we came out of it with the win. So it's keeps our Champions League hopes alive. So that's the goal, right?
Yeah. I think it. I mean, I don't know, Nando. I saw you. I see you speaking on Twitter. I think I saw you on Calcio Connection as well, Jerry's show, and you guys definitely mentioned the leaky defense and Lazio really can't hold the lead, can't stop people from scoring on them. This seems like to be like a week in, week out basis with Lazio. Like, what's the issue? Like, what do you pinpoint the issue with Lazio's defense?
Like, if you look at it, like, we haven't had a healthy defense pretty much. Like, okay, our defense sucks. Okay, let's just be honest here. Okay, at full strength, you got Luis Felipe, Acerbi, and Radu. That's a pretty good defense. I mean, that finished really high last year when we obviously qualified for the Champions League. But Luis Felipe has been out for 4 months. Acerbi's played a gazillion games the last 3 years. Obviously, it's catching on. He's still playing really good, but not at the level he was playing last year. Radu is also 34, so age is catching up with these guys. They're reliable, but they need a break. And you look at our backups, you have Patrick, which is an embarrassment to all players. He is porous, garbage player. Shouldn't we be playing in Serie A? Probably not even Serie A. Wesley Hoot had a good start to his second stint in a Lazio jersey, but kind of tallied off, kind of went obscurity. I mean, I think the Inter game really, I think when he gave up the penalty, I believe, that's when he really tailed off and he's just lost all confidence. He's a confidence player. When this guy plays with confidence, he can be really good. If he has no confidence, forget about it. And Matteo Musacchio, I don't know, he played, 3 games, made that terrible error versus Bayern, and he hasn't seen the field since. So it's not a matter of our starters. Our starters, I tell everyone, if Lazio, if we had 11 men, and if Calcio was a team of just 11 players, Lazio would be competing for the Scudetto every year. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
We compete for the Scudetto every year, and if we played once a week. But our biggest weakness is our depth, and it was especially apparent this year when we had to play such a condensed schedule, and especially with I say Luis Felipe is our most talented center back. With the ball, makes passes, can do everything. Especially with him missing for 4 months, it hasn't been great. We found a temporary solution in Maruzic. He's quick. It really mitigates the fast speed attacking our backline because Radu and Acerbi aren't the quickest. So he's there to cover that type of risk, right? But then again, he's not a natural center back. And with what happened this weekend, Cataldi made some stupid tackle that he didn't need to make, caused a penalty shot. And then Janova scored on Maruzic's side. So, again, the weak spot. So it's just a matter of depth. I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. Since last year, we have no depth. None whatsoever.
And you know what? It seems like with Lazio, since basically since the return from the pandemic, they struggled. You talk about it. They struggle with the depth. They struggle with playing twice a week. It obviously is a depth thing. But do you think Lazio moving forward they should look for guys who could who do have good stamina, who could play twice a week? Maybe guys from other European teams like teams in Spain and England who have been playing Europa League, Champions League. younger guys. Maybe that could be part of their like physicals or something, depth, stamina. I don't know if that's something you think Lazio could kind of focus on, in maybe a depth perspective, not necessarily for their, starting guys.
I think our depth needs to be purchased in Serie A, to be honest with you, or any top league. But players from Spain and England, you're gonna pay a premium, especially England. We saw players in that league going for 20 to 40 million euros that shouldn't have gone for that price. Spain is a little tricky. Mind you, I don't follow Spain that much as I should. The team I really follow is Sevilla, but let's focus on Serie A. I'll go with you on that. Like, I'll say they should buy players in Serie A. They should look at the lower teams. One team right off the bat that catches my eye is Spezia. You have Simone Bastoni, the left back, who every time I watch Spezia play, this guy is challenging their left flank like a horse, like up and down, like a really good player. You know what? That's a player you should have competing for your left wing back. He's still relatively young. He's 24. And even against us, the 2 games he played, he was really good. They have the center mid, Matteo Ricci. So again, only 26. Definitely could help our team even maybe as potentially as a starter next year to replace Lucas. Because center mid, you're not going to get anything. Lucas was an amazing player. And when he's on his game this year, he's irreplaceable. But he has had a lot of bad games. So a guy like Ricci coming in, possibly to play 60% of the games and Lucas plays 40, I can see that happening. And up front, I mean, look at the great seasons players like Enzola and especially Simi of Crotone are having, while we blew our load on the coast of our corpse, who can barely stand up straight when the ball is coming his way. So, I mean, it's a matter of Tare being very astute with his purchases. I mean, every time we bought a player in Italy, it seems to work out. I mean, look at Lazzari, look at Acerbi. 2 players which to me stand out immensely. I mean, you could say Faris hasn't worked out, but I'm not really going to pick on him because it's his first full year after tearing his ACL and MCL. I personally think Faris is going to have a big part to play in our season next year. But yeah, we have to really look inside our league. Our players with experience in Serie A. Correa has been a success. Immobile, yes, he was brought from Sevilla, but he's a Serie A guy. So, Immobile's history. So, we have to focus on our own league. We have to look at players that know Serie A and that know the culture of Italian football or Calcio. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think you know what, Nando. I don't know, man, but you're nailing like point after point in our questions that we got this week, all in one right there. But I definitely agree with you in terms of finding. I mean, I don't want to say Italian because it doesn't have to be Italian, but Serie A players to be part of your depth, to be part of your starting 11. I think that only builds and grows our league and maybe our national team. I don't think Ricci is going to be a player for the Italian national team in the future. Maybe as a depth guy, I don't know. He's still middle aged there at 26, but again, it's a player that can grow under Lazio, can grow under these players in their midfield. Where we say it every time we speak about Lazio, and you just mentioned it now. You talk about their starting 11. It's definitely up there with one of the top starting 11s out across Serie A. So I definitely agree. We've got a question from Laziale on Twitter, and they write, and this is quoted from them, they write, "Right now, Lazio are linked with free transfers of Mata and Maksimovic. Do you think it would be a good move?" He says, "For me, Maksimovic would be decent, but I'm not sure about Mata because of his age and wage demands." I would agree. I don't know. And even Maksimovic, for some reason, it gives me Musacchio vibes for you guys. I don't know. Musacchio, thank you for your services at Milan, but wasn't good. We had to ride him when he was good, and that was about it. But what do you make of those names that he mentioned, Mata and Maksimovic?
So I saw someone make the parallel with Juan Mata with David Silva. I don't think so, because David Silva was still playing at a high level last year. Juan Mata has in and out of he's been an obscure player for United the past few years, and even at that, he hasn't been really that impressive. Whenever I watched Silva play last year, still struck me as a player that had a lot of gas left in the tank. So Juan Mata, I'd say you've had an excellent career. You've won a World Cup and a Euro Cup, but it's time to hang up the boots or join up with Fabregas in Monaco. As for Maksimovic, it depends what his salary demands are, to be honest. He's not a bad player. I definitely do think he's an upgrade to Musacchio. Because Maksimovic, he was
it's iffy. It's iffy.
He's a bit of an enigma for Napoli. He had some good games and some bad games. He definitely did a little bit of hype. How much did they pay him? Like 25, 30 million euros? So that's a pretty hefty price tag. I forgot where he came from. Was it Genova, Udinese? I don't really recall. But before that, he was very good. And he's only 30. I know Musacchio is only 30, but I can see Maksimovic has been a better player for Napoli than Musacchio has been for Milan. So in that sense, would I take Maksimovic? Sure, if I got rid of the garbage we have now, like Patrick, Hoot, whatever other crap we have. Musacchio is already leaving, so yeah. Would I take him as a depth player? Yes, absolutely. Would I pay him Acerbi money or Radu? Well, Radu I don't think is making much, but would I pay him Acerbi money? Absolutely not. If he's willing to take a discount of sorts or still stay at the same salary, sure. He's just a type of guy that can walk into your lineup and have a good game and not make the starters be missed too much. So I would look at Maksimovic. I would look at his health, and I'd play the pros and the cons. He's free. He has Serie A experience, and he's still 30. We're seeing Italian defenders play very well into their 30s, or Serie A defenders, let's say. So Acerbi is still playing at a high level. He's 34. He's 33. So you know what? Give him a 2-year or 3-year contract. See what comes out of it. And he's definitely an upgrade to what we have now.
Yeah, and it was Torino, just to put that out there, that he came from Maksimovic when he made the jump from Torino to Napoli.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I thought he went there like a couple years ago. He left Torino in 2016. Jesus.
He did.
Yeah, I
thought it was like 2018 he left. Like, wow.
2016 feels like 2018. Wow, time flies, boys.
Big time.
We got another question from Vuteling on Twitter. Should Lazio sell Milinkovic?
There was some back and forth on this one.
Yeah. Should Lazio sell Milinkovic Savic for 80 plus million to generate the cash to improve the squad at 3-4 positions, or keep our best player and spend less on reinforcements, especially if we miss out on Champions League? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, because we did have a few people chime in on that.
I would say absolutely not. No, unless the player specifically demands he wants to leave, then no. Sergio is very happy in Rome. He's, I think, our highest paid player with Immobile. He'll be the vice captain next year after Lulic finally retires. Cheeto's going to be the captain, obviously. So unless Sergio asks to leave, which, listen, if it might be possible this summer, you never know. But if he says I'm happy, then don't sell him. We have a very good starting 11. We lose Milinkovic, Savic. We're going to lose a big part of our team, and it's not even funny. You can't replace a player like that. You just can't. We hit home runs with our core, and we get rid of one of them now. It's going to be very, very tough. It's going to be very tough to replace him. Impossible. Unless he asks to leave, then no. And like I said, we can spend 30 million euros on players in Serie A. Like Simone Bastoni, like I was saying, Bastoni can't cost more than 10. Ricci maybe 8, 9. And if you can somehow get some Bacala to buy Murici and you buy Enzola for, I don't know, half the price. You know what I mean? There you go, right? Yes, we do need another center back, so we might have to spend a little more cash. But if we're going to sell a player, we're probably going to sell Stragosha or some of our other bid part players, but definitely not one of the big four unless they illicitly ask to leave.
Yeah, and I mean it's I don't know. It's kind of like you have to weigh your options. Like SMS has been not only a dominant force for Lazio, but in Serie A, he's been always touted as one of the best midfielders in Serie A. He's definitely grown a lot at Lazio, so it's definitely hard to let go of a guy like that. It kind of reminds me of, again, I don't want to compare, but it kind of reminds me of like Lazio and SMS, it's kind of like Napoli with Koulibaly. Like, do you get rid of this guy that you paid peanuts for, who's grown immensely, who's part of your city, who's part of your club, like to the core, for a high fee? I don't know. It's definitely tough because with that money, if you want to look at the other side of things, you can pick up maybe some other quality players in your starting 11, or for your case, depth in your squad. So there's definitely two ways to look at it. I would probably agree with you in saying that I don't see them selling him. I don't think they should. Other guys would definitely have to go before SMS, and that's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, I think his value that he brings to Lazio is just too high than that money that's coming in. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm a sucker for those romantic stories, I guess, with players and clubs, but I don't know. I don't see him moving on.
Not yet. He's still only 25. He'll be 26 next year. So
imagine.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
What's your
he's 26 now. He's 26.
What's your number?
He's born February 95. He's 26. Yeah.
What's your number if push comes to shove and you have to sell him, or he wants to leave, or there's a big bid? Like, what's your number that's like fair for SMS?
Pre-COVID or COVID?
No, we're never going back to pre-COVID.
So now with all the big teams, that's another factor you got to take in consideration.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good.
Big teams aren't going to be willing to shell out what Lotito wants from him, and he still has, I think, a contract till 2024. So, what would I sell him for during this time? Like he's leading. Well, he's leading our team in assists. He's our free kick specialist. Scores, wins balls. He does everything. So, I think if this was a pre-COVID world, I'd be asking for 110. But right now, I'd ask for like 80, 90, more on the 90 side, just to 90 million during COVID. But if the world goes back to normal in a year or two, well, his value won't be as high because he'll actually never know. But right now, I'd say 90 million, 90 to 100 million.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I think that's probably the number I would say most fans probably would want. I know Lotito wants a hell of a lot of money. So, but Nick, you had another question?
Yeah.
Actually, no, sorry. I wanted to bring out this one since we're talking about like a lineup and we're talking about starting lineup and just players in general. Sean McIntosh came up with a question last. Yeah, he came out last minute with a question, so we appreciate this question. And it was a pretty good question. I mean, I really liked it. And he asked, you can only upgrade one position in our starting 11 or our lineup, he says, this offseason. What do you do? You mentioned some names for maybe some cheap depth buys, but in your starting 11, you had one position you need to upgrade right now, Nando, where do you go?
Oof. This is in hypothetical. Our team stays healthy all year. We're just talking starting 11. Ooh.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to ask Sean, but yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, I think I saw that question. Yeah, okay. So if we put Maruzic back on the left, Luis Felipe goes in the center. We have Acerbi and Radu.
Yeah,
I'd upgrade Lucas, just because he has looked absolutely, totally lost some games. The game against Napoli, he was absolutely pathetic. I think it was the worst performance I've ever seen Lucas play in a Lazio jersey. But then he bounces back against Milan, has a bad 20 minutes and dominates the midfield. But center defensive mid is the position I would look for the most, because as much as our defense stinks, it's more the depth. But if we're going to upgrade starting 11, it's definitely Lucas.
That's fair.
You got a question. You're going to like this one from Jerry.
Yes.
Mariki,
this is another last minute one.
Should Mariki be the water boy for Lazio next season?
No, ship him back off to Fenerbahce in Constantinople there, so he can go back to a league that he can play in. He's not even going to be our water boy.
Sailing the seven seas.
Yeah. Get out, all right.
Jeez, what a bad signing!
He's a pirate LARPing as a Calcio player. That's what he is. He's not even a professional player. He's a pirate.
Where would you rank it among the worst Lazio signings that you've seen?
Oh, That's a tough one. Gaisca Mendieta is really up there because we traded Sebastian Veron. Not traded, we sold Veron to get him. That one hurt. This is a bit before your time, guys, but I would say he's up there with Gaisca Mendieta because Mendieta was probably one of the best players in the world. He went to two Champions League finals with Valencia, so there's a lot of expectations on him. That could probably objectively be the worst signing in our history. But I would definitely say Murici is the second worst. It has to be.
Wow.
I can't think of any other player that's done that bad. I mean, we've signed some pretty shitty players in the past, but they're like inconsequential nobodies that no one's going to remember. You know what I mean? You can say Mauro Zarate was a failure, but he had a good first season, and we won a Coppa Italia and a Super Cup with him. The Lotito era, that's maybe that Slovakian defender we shipped off to Huesca in Spain, Denis Vavro. He cost quite a pretty penny as well, like 13 million or 15 million euros. But that's just Tare. Just see what I mean? This is the stupidity that Tare does. He buys these obscure players. He was playing for Copenhagen in the Danish league, and Murici was playing in the Turkish league. It's like, that's 35 million euros on players that have no idea what Serie A is about. And why would you pay a defender from Copenhagen 15 million euros? Like, who in the right mind would do that? It makes absolutely no sense. I know you don't like Izzo, Nick, but like I think
Izzo is good.
Yeah,
he's dropped off. He's dropped off. He's not ET19 form.
He's dropped off, but he's a good we're talking about Serie A experienced player. Like Nando's saying, like he's good for what he's needed for.
Yeah, they paid him like 10 or 12 million euros.
He's a good player. And
just to give you context, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Petagna, but he's a decent player, and I think Napoli paid him 17, like €1 million or 2 million euros cheaper than we played Murici, and he scored. He's actually been decent for Napoli, you know, and he's not Osimhen good, but he's a good backup. He comes in, he knows how to hold the ball. He's proven in Serie A, but we go by this guy who's reminiscent of a corpse. It just doesn't make any sense. And then we have that the other Kosovar. He played for Red Bull Salzburg. What was his name? Valon Berisha for like $7.5 million. Oh my God. Terrible. This guy didn't even look interested. At least you can tell Murici looks like he wants to succeed. He tries hard. He's just not good. Like, I can't fault the guy for coming for that price. He's just not good enough for Serie A. But like Valon Berisha, 7.5 million euros. Didn't look interested. And there was that other left back from Betis, Riza Durmisi. Like, again, he's in Serie B now with our feeder club, Salernitana. So it's like, that's almost like 50 million euros on shit. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
So, which makes me think, should Tare go? I think he's a bit past his expiry date. Like, he's signed amazing players. Like, look at our core. But recently, it's a what have you done for me lately sport, right? So,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Who was that guy that looked old, but he was really young? I forget his fucking name.
Tommaso.
What?
Tommaso Rocchi?
I don't remember now.
He
was no, I don't even remember, man. It's that famous picture. I don't even know how to describe it. What's his name?
He's in and out of the team. Like I don't know what that was up with that guy. He's in City
of
Bro,
he was like
the youth guy.
He was
the youth
like
player?
20. I don't know. He was like 23, but he looked like he was 33. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Bunch of controversy around him.
Yeah. That's another guy that makes me laugh when I think about like players for Lazio in the past.
Yeah, but that was I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, but again, Nando, you know, and you say like you spend like 15 million or whatever, 17 million for some of these players, but like for these players like from abroad, and like it's so crazy to me where it's like you kind of muster up a bit more and get some quality in your own league or in a other top league, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to me because yes, you're going to pay a premium in the premium leagues, but you know, there's definitely buys that you can make, and there's definitely players you can find. Like, it's like, I don't know. Don't tell me you can't find these types of players. Like we mentioned Izzo. I mean, I don't know. we love Chicho Caputo here, but like that's another depth guy who definitely could play. You know, we mentioned Simi last week. You mentioned him again this week. Like I don't see why.
Simi gonna go for it.
You know?
He's
Well, now he's gonna go for a lot.
Yeah, but he's gonna be relegated. He's already 29. So I mean,
yeah,
we're not talking about 20 million euros here. Maybe we're talking 10, 12. Like Caputo went for how much to Sassuolo? He was only 31 when he went. He was what 8 million?
Yeah, like 5-6, very low number, less than 10 million, very low.
Yeah, exactly. Look at him. He scored 20 goals. I think he's going to score 20 again this year. Like, good for him. He's actually my paisano from Altamura. I met him back in 2000.
Who, Caputo?
Yeah, he's my paisano.
I got a jersey of him. Now you have to send it to him for us, huh? Like I need that jersey signed and everything.
Definitely will.
But okay, talking about current squad and everything, and you mentioned him earlier. You mentioned his name earlier, and I've on our show have always found him as a bright spot, a bright new addition for the squad. But Pizza Calcio asks, and I mean I don't know if he's in the world, but they ask, is Laziale the fastest man on earth? Again, I don't know about that. He's definitely very quick. We saw the battle against him and Alphonso Davies in the Champions League. It looked he was right there. He's definitely quick, and definitely a bright spot on your right hand side, Nando. What do you make beside their question? Like, what do you make of him this season and going forward with Lazio?
I think they got to extend him, give him bigger salary because teams like Inter and especially if Juve switch to a 5-man midfield or 5-man backline. And the use of wing backs. A lot of teams are switching to that system, so lock him up and make him a fixture. I know there's some bit of our fan base on Twitter that, for whatever reason, doesn't rate him highly, but that's another conversation for another time. But I really love Laziale. Like if this guy had a scoring touch, I think he'd be one of the top right-sided defenders or wing backs in the world. Because he can really whip them in, whip the cross. He's really come through as a player this year. Like last year, he was a bit inconsistent because making the jump from Spal to Lazio is a pretty big jump. But this year, you saw him. Like he just takes on players. Like, he's not afraid. He's really not afraid. Alphonso Davies. I'm not Davies' biggest fan, to be honest. I think he was really overhyped with those games against Barcelona, but he's still a good player, still a quality player. And he's really quick. And Laziale just went up against him. He didn't give a shit. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, but I'm serious. Like, but that's the attitude you got to have. And even against Milan, against Theo Hernandez, the second coming of Jesus Christ in Milan, right?
Yeah, of course. But no, if it wasn't for his big toe, he was onside, right? So. Yeah. So I mean, he attacked Theo Hernandez, one of the better left backs or the better full backs in the league. So to him, it's like he's won duels. I would objectively, I would say he outdueled Alphonso Davies. Okay, we got smashed, but still, like that was a bright spot. He outdueled Theo Hernandez. He's been really good. So I really, really like Lazio. Is he the fastest player in the world? Probably not, but he's definitely one of the fastest Italian players. And I would definitely call him for Liaturi this summer. Okay.
Definitely. What do we have? We have Di Lorenzo, like
on the left side.
The right side.
Right. On the right side. I think the names,
you got Florenzi there.
The obvious suspects
we're more stronger on the right side. On the left side, who do we have? Emerson,
Spinazzola. But you could have he's going to come back.
Sure. He's still hurt?
He's done for the Roma season, so I don't know if he's done for Euros.
True.
Spaniolo?
Yes, Spinazzola.
Okay, well that's a problem. I mean, Calabria can play left back, no? But he's kind of meh, Calabria.
Yeah.
But he's good, Calabria. What are you talking about?
Florenzi's only there because of his name. Let's be honest. Florenzi is.
I agree.
I think Di Lorenzo and Laziale are both quality a step above Florenzi. Di Lorenzo's a very good player. I'd play Di Lorenzo against the bigger teams, like I don't know, like Netherlands, England, those teams. But Laziale, if you have nothing to lose against these Mickey Mouse nations, like our group kind of shit. Like
Yeah.
if we don't come out with 3 wins out of 3, we'll be very disappointed. Like
Especially they're all at home. They don't have to travel. The other teams have to travel between Italy and
Agreed.
Azerbaijan.
Start Lazzari or rotate Lazzari and Di Lorenzo for those games. But the best way to use Lazzari in a game is if you are trailing or you are on a counterattack. Put him in like the 65th minute when legs are starting to get heavy, and he'll just bomb through our right side, and he's a nightmare for players, right? So
yeah, he's a spark, and even if it's just a change of pace, bro, like it's a change of pace that if we're not like for the Azzurri, I'm speaking of, if we're going to shift away from Lazio for a second, like just a change of pace, and he can bring it on the right hand side, and it's like even if he doesn't start the game, he comes off the bench like you mentioned. I definitely think there's a shout, and I think the news is official. Guys, quote me if I'm wrong, but they're making the squad a bit bigger. The 26 players, for the teams. It's official, right? So again, maybe with 23 players he wasn't making it. Maybe now with 26 he is, right? So it's definitely an option.
Absolutely, and Mancini would be ridiculous if he didn't call him. He should have 3 goals, but he has 5 assists. So, I mean, he's having a really good season. He was probably man of the match against he was really good against Roma, too. So, if I recall in the derby, like
he was.
He was really good. So, Lazzari he's one of my favorite players in Lazio, obviously. Like, he's a special player.
Got another question, social media question, kind of the off-field stuff with Lotito, with those COVID tests this year. Lotito's getting punished, but the team isn't. We got a Roma fan, SPQR Maximus. So I see he kind of takes his naming a bit from you on social media. The Roman style.
Betty doesn't have the SPQR tattoo like I do, but anyway.
We'll have to ask him.
We'll have to ask.
Yes, why didn't Lazio get punished for the COVID test fraud, literally putting people's lives at risk?
What'd you make of that?
I don't think this guy knows what he's talking about because it was about a negative test, false positives. I don't know. The whole I kind of, not that I forgot about it, but I kind of stopped caring about it because we're not losing any points. I couldn't give a shit if Lotito's suspended or not for a year. So you'd have to do some research on the topic itself, which was we had a lab testing our players, and then there was another lab. So they were using different COVID tests, and one of them was detecting a specific genome of the virus versus the other one. The players were positive in one and negative in the other, and I don't know. There was no real risk. No one really got sick, and sounds like a bitter, irate Roma fan trying to stir shit.
Just poking some fun. It's all love, just poking some fun. But talking about poking fun, our other local boy, and is in our group chat as well on WhatsApp, Mas Richo, came out and asked, why are you supporting the wrong side of Rome? I don't know what you want to answer that, Nando, but the floor is yours, sir.
Why am I supporting the right side of Rome? I guess I made the right. I guess
you mentioned the right. Sorry, the wrong. Yeah, I like that.
I guess I made the right choice. We have more trophies than Roma. We've been contemporarily more successful. We actually have a solid foundation. Our captain wasn't stripped of his captain's duties, Dzeko, and I can go on. I mean,
we got some time.
Yeah, we're not a meme club. Oh yeah. Why else? I like Lazio. We don't get humiliated each time we play a big team in Europe. So what's the next total? So we're at 6-2 Man United, 7-1 Roma against United, 6-2 Barcelona, 7-1 Bayern Munich, 7-1 Fiorentina. So the list keeps growing. So I mean, you gotta love Roma, the gift that keeps on giving.
And a bonsai tree. Can't forget that.
And the bonsai tree. You gotta love the bonsai.
But speaking of Roma.
Yeah, speaking of Roma, I mean they were in the news this week. Mourinho coming in. Interesting, contrast, right, between the two Roman clubs. You got Inzaghi, who's been in the coach for Lazio for 5 years now. since 2016, and in that time, Roma has had this. This is going to be their 5th coach, Mourinho. Not only like what do you make of that, but in terms of just, I guess, city pride, do you think kind of Roma's like, kind of not entering meme tier, but
No,
at least
they're meme tier.
Okay, they're meme tier for you. But like, who do you think is going to finish ahead next season? And yeah, just give me your thoughts on that situation.
Do you guys? How do I think? I love Mourinho. Like, it sucks that he's going to Roma. Like, I really had high hopes from at Spurs because remember they just finished the Champions League final with Pochettino.
Yeah,
and he kind of revitalized them a bit last year. They looked really good this year, but like all Mourinho teams, the expiry date came a little late, a little more early than usual, and the team turned on them. So that being said, is Roma really reaching with Mourinho? I think so. I think this is a PR stunt. They really want to show the world, look, they're flexing their muscles. We signed Mourinho. But let's take into consideration, this is not the Mourinho that left Chelsea in 2007 after back-to-back Premier League titles. And honestly, he should have won a Champions League with that Chelsea squad. I was looking at their roster. They had the best offense and let in like 17 goals in 2005 or 2006. That is absolutely insane. This guy mastered the art of attack and defense. And he only lost out to a stupid Luis Garcia goal, which we don't even know if it crossed the line or not. So, anyways, that's another story. Is it the same Mourinho that won the tripleta with Inter? No. Is it the same Mourinho that went toe-to-toe with Guardiola's Barcelona that was kind of fucked over by spotty refereeing decisions? No. Is it the Mourinho that won the... Is it the successful Mourinho? No. So Mourinho went from a top-tier European coach to coaching Tottenham, who were 5th or were mid-table last year, who is still not in the Champions League, to a team that's flirting with not even making Europe next year, the UEFA meme tier competition, the Conference League, or whatever it's called. That's what I think Roma might qualify for next year. So we're talking about a coach who's had a major fall from grace. Can he turn it around? Yes, but I saw I'm not going to name his name, but I saw someone compare Mourinho to Fabio Capello going to Roma, and I illicitly answered him, okay, find them a Cafu, find them an Emerson, find them a Walter Samuel, find them a Batigol, find them a Totti, find them a Vincent Candela, like find them all these players. Okay, who on Roma now would objectively start on Roma's Scudetto team? Not even one player, not even one. Just to give you, I don't want to bring this back to Lazio, but let's compare Lazio's team now to their Scudetto team. I can name at least 2 or 3 players from our current squad that would walk into the Scudetto team. Immobile, Milinkovic-Savic, possibly Alberto or Acerbi. Depends who you want to take out of the lineup. But we have players that can penetrate the starting lineup. Roma's team now stinks. They're not good. I guess Pellegrini is good, but what's he really, really good at? Nothing. There's nothing wow about Pellegrini. Dzeko's been flirting to leave with the team for the last 3 or 4 years. Somehow he's still there. Cristante starting as a center back. I don't know. They have Villar and Ibanez. I don't know. These guys are memes from what I see on Twitter. Paul Lopez sucks. Gianluca Mancini is a whatever player. I don't know. Their roster sucks, or it's not good. And you have Mourinho who needs an excessive amount of spending for his teams to be good. Look at when he went to Real Madrid, bought a lot of players. When he went to Inter, bought players. When he returned to Chelsea, bought players. Bought players this summer with Spurs. And are Roma going to open the checkbook? It remains to be seen. You're going to have to sell someone. Who are they going to sell? I have no idea. Unless Friedkin really wants to go into more debt, which are really American investors in the business of losing money? No. So I have no idea. To me, this seems more like a PR stunt. If it's successful, which I hope it's not, good for them. But if not, I'm on the side where I think Mourinho's past his prime. And it won't change much from next year. The players will definitely play for him at first, but I read an article in The Athletic where Mourinho likes to call out his players publicly. Okay, that worked with the older generation, like the Lampards, the Makaleles.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Millennials are soft. Like you tell a millennial what they don't want to hear, they're gonna go cry in a corner or play PlayStation. Like this generation is more obsessed with their tattoos and their Instagram posts than they are with playing. So Mourinho's a coach for the players we watched growing up, not the players of our generation. So that's how I feel.
Wow, that's
almost
we
like
spoke
what
about
I said
it
earlier, Adri.
Yeah, bro, we spoke about this
I
earlier.
didn't, use harsh words like that. I said every generation is different. You got to, approach every generation differently. But I basically said, if Mourinho does that, Zaniolo's not. They're not going to get along. He is that prototypical, exactly what you said. Tattoos, Instagram. He's had a lot of storylines in this time that he's been injured. A lot of guys been busy. Let's put it that way.
So
it's going to be interesting, Mourinho and Zaniolo.
Then you don't forget Zaniolo's mom on Instagram defending every move he makes. I mean, it's like he's a big mamaro.
It's Rabiot 2.0.
Yeah, like I love Mourinho. Like I saw him growing up. For me, he's the GOAT of the last generation of coaches. I think the new generation, if they hired Jurgen Klopp, I'd be like, Lazio's done. But it's not Jurgen Klopp, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, we spoke about it earlier at the beginning of the show, pretty much. You echoed some of the points we made. We know definitely what Mourinho brings. Again, you can't discredit his past. He is a winner pretty much everywhere he's went. Nando just called him the GOAT in that generation. But I think the one thing that I don't know, but because there's so many unknowns, right? A, this was a shocking move. B, we don't know about the Friedkins 100% yet, especially that this being like year one. Like we'll see what they do next season, then we can really judge, I think. But I also don't think that Roma, like how much further, like I was mentioning before, Nando, like how much further back can this squad go? Is Mourinho really going to put them a lot more back? Maybe financially, like I mentioned. I don't know. His salary, I'm pretty sure, is more than what Fonseca's making. They already are in debt. Exactly, right? 7.5, if I read correctly.
That's half the salary at Tottenham. So he took a big pay cut to come. So this is his make it or break it. But unless he drastically changes, I don't see. And it's sad because we all grew up watching him. I know Dom in our chat doesn't like Mourinho, but I like Mourinho. I like that guy. I liked him I liked his interviews when he called the Arsene Wenger voyeur, like his toe-to-toes for Alex, or him and Guardiola.
Yeah,
I love that kind of stuff. It breeds rivalries, right? So, come on, this guy made an enemy of Roma when he was at Inter. Like, there's no competition between Inter and Roma. Roma, like, just by luck, they were the second best team in Italy because of the scandals, Calcio there. But I mean, this guy's entertaining. But I mean, it's good for the league to have him back. But ultimately, I don't think he'll be that successful. And another thing you got to take into consideration is how is Fonseca going to finish the last 4 games of the season?
Thank you. I mentioned that too. Again, I think Nando was in. I don't know. It was in our minds before. I don't know, bro. This guy was listening, guaranteed. So but you mentioned good points.
So what's that gonna do? I mean, like
where's that motivation? Where's that motivation coming from now?
The team already looks like they're dragging their feet. They look like a bunch of mushapal on the field. It's like their season's done. Like they're competing for a Europa spot with Sassuolo now. If you think about it, like Sassuolo is like 3 points back, and
2 points. 2 points.
2 points back.
2 points. Yeah.
And the way things are going, Lazio is heating up. Like, Immobile is scoring again. Correa is, thank God he found this form because he was driving me nuts. Alberto's assisting again. Savic has been good all season. And we have the eye on the prize. I mean, if Roma don't show up, it could be like another humiliating defeat for them. I know a derby's a derby, but still, like, if the players don't care, and you got one team that's going out there to win, it's gonna, what the result's gonna be. Like, I'm not calling a Lazio win ahead of time, but like the way Lazio's playing versus the way Roma's playing now,
for sure.
I know a derby.
Night and day.
but Roma don't really have a captain. Like, who's their like Pellegrini's who's given the armband, but it's kind of like
leader?
Baptism by fire now. It's like the team isn't that good. The coach is leaving. Zeko is sulking. Like, he doesn't play. It's just a big mess.
I think Roma, you said they're fighting for Europa League. I think the 7th place gets the Europa Conference League, which is the 3rd league
really?
that UEFA comes out with next year. I don't know if it depends who wins the Coppa Italia, if there's another spot in Europa League. It gets complicated, but if they play in Europa Conference League, like you're playing against literal farmers. Like, that's a team like Sassuolo. That's what they want to play in. They're that team. They can make extra money from a competition like that. Not for Roma. But
especially to make the step above too. Like, sorry to cut you off, Nick, but like, just to make that step above for like a team like Sassuolo, like to be that stepping stone to maybe get into maybe Europe, proper Europe, down the line. I think is huge. But before we end, we ended on Roma talk. We do have a Lazio guest. Lazio has that game in hand, May 18th. Is Lazio making Champions League, Nando? If we speak to Jerry, it's a guarantee. But what's the call for you?
Are we making Champions League? That is a good one. I would say yes, just because I want them to make it. I know, Age, you're a Milan fan, but I don't. Milan looks like they're not up to it. Even Juve, to be honest with you, like, I think these teams are flirting with some disaster coming up. Especially Milan, they have Juve and Atalanta, if my memory serves me correct. I mean, then we got to worry about Napoli. But if we win the game in hand, we tie Napoli. But they have the head-to-head. It's going to be tough because we need to hope 2 teams drop out. Napoli or like Lazio, they can win on their day or they can lose. My heart says yes, my brain says no.
I think that's the answer we both expected you to say. I just wanted to put it out there for you, but again, listen, Nando, I think we can all agree that this has been an interesting campionato. Besides number 1, Inter, they won the Scudetto, fine. But from 2 to 5, 2 to 5, it's been a fight. It's going to be a fight to the end. And honestly, may the best club win. May the best clubs make Europe or Champions League. Sorry, and then we can all enjoy the Euro. And I hope a certain someone on your squad comes out big for us for the Euros. Ciro Immobile. We're all behind him here. I'm pretty sure you are as well. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that he can end the season off well and guide us to Rome. His home in the Euros.
But if you think about it, I know you guys got to go, but like, he's playing in his home stadium, so he's gonna have that comfort. So,
bro, we're excited, man. We're excited. I think you are as well. So, fingers crossed for a good end to the Serie A season and onto the Euros. But Nando, again, from us two here, Johnny couldn't make it tonight. We just want to say a big thank you once again for coming on. You're always a pleasure to have on. You know your shit, and send the heart. I love that.
You know how to bash your rivals.
You know how to shit talk, but make sense of it too. And we love you for that. So if anybody wants to contact you, any other Laziale who haven't already found you on social media, where can they find you?
On Twitter, Nando_Magnus. Send me a follow. We'll talk Lazio. We'll talk Calcio. We'll talk whatever the fuck you want to talk about. Beautiful.
And guys, like we say every week, we can't thank you guys enough for all the support, love that you guys give us. And where you can find us at the Calcio Guys on all social media platforms. That's what Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube as well. This was episode 99. We're going for the big 100 next week. Maybe some big things next week. I don't know. We'll try to come up with something big for next week's episode. But again, follow us on all the social media platforms. Catch our podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Give it a like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we'll be back next week to talk more Calcio.
Thanks for listening. The Calcio Guys is a weekly podcast by Adreano DiNardo, Gianni Delacoli, and myself, Nicholas Di Giovanni. We want to bring Calcio back to its roots in our communities and share stories from around the world about why we're passionate about the beautiful game. You can listen to us anywhere where you listen to your podcasts, including Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Radio, and Mixcloud. Give us your opinion on social media at The Calcio Guys on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The outro song is The Last Ones by Jazar.